I think that one of the great mistakes that women make is they don't think about the consequences of their choices. And they've been used their entire life of being forgiven for making choices that have consequences. And when guys like me come around and say things like this, they're like, well, that's not the same. You can't possibly say or think that.
Because it's simply not.
It's not the same, but it's the same level of fuckery.
It's the same concept of this person has a standard.
Someone for money versus someone contributing or trying to, no, not even the same at all. It's money, materialistic shit that's here on earth.
I completely understand what you're saying.
Lost her husband. That's bullshit.
I completely understand what you're saying. But to a guy like me, when I see it for what it is, it's the same level of bullshit.
You just said for what it is.
Why is it that women can hold men to certain standards, but men can't hold women to certain standards? Like, why are you able to disqualify a guy because he asks you to pay for his kid in a daycare center, but I can't disqualify a woman because she's tattooed a memento of another man on her body? You see what I'm saying, though, right?
Like, the first thing he asked me to pay for, yes, maybe I consider it.
Right, but I mean,
no,
you can have standards, but men can't have standards.
The mother of his child is still alive. That wasn't my gamble to. That's not my shit to deal with. My best friend who lost her husband.
Got it.
Different. That's
got it. But I mean, you're talking about standards. Got it. But I mean, you're talking about standards in dating, right? It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, I was manipulated. I'm admitting that. That's why I'm on this show right now. Like, yeah, I got fucked over and he used me financially and I fucking got out of it. But what I'm saying is you comparing that to a woman who lost her husband and father of her fucking kids? No, that's not the
That's
same
not the
thing.
argument, though. That's not what we're
Pay
arguing.
for your kids' daycare.
I think you're missing the point, Caitlin. It's that you have a
though.
certain standard. You have a line in the sand that's a bottom line. And your line in the sand was, I'm not going to deal with a guy that's going to be asking me to be paying for his kids' daycare.
Yeah, but you twisted that around. Like,
no, that's your standard. That's your line in the sand. Like, you're allowed to have that standard and disqualify a guy, but you're saying that a man can't have a standard and disqualify a woman because she's tattooed a memento of another man on her body?
Yeah, but the way
how does that make sense? Why do you get standards, but I don't?
I didn't say you don't get standards, but the way you compared those two neck and neck when those were conversations that were had over 30 minutes ago, they're not even compromisable. This is up
they
here.
Are in the sense, in the regard that they're disqualifying standards.
What? I'm just I'm really confused. You're asking for a woman's perspective. This is a widow. She lost her husband, and you're comparing it to some douchebag I met online.
This is a child in a daycare center that needs care, Caitlin, and you're refusing to pay for it.
Because the child has a mother.
Okay. And why would I want to invite a woman into my life that holds a place in her heart and has marked her body with that man? I don't care how he died. It doesn't matter to me. It's not my problem. You see what I'm saying, though, right? You're allowed to set a standard in your dating world, but a man is not allowed to set a standard in his world? How is that fair?
If I met a man and he had a tattoo of his wife that passed and he also had children with, I personally would admire that. I would respect that.
And that's what we're trying to say. This is your personal standard, and we have our
men and women are very, very different. Men will routinely pay for another man's kids, right? If the tables were turned and it was a guy dealing with you and you needed him to pay for your kids in daycare, there's lots of guys out there that will do something like that.
Yeah,
right? Because men and women are totally different.
I have more self-respect than that. I'm not asking for charity. And then when I saw that I was taking.
No, I know, but I mean, the point that you're missing, Caitlin, is that we can all hold people to standards that we want to hold them to. You can't tell me what my standards are, and I can't tell you what your standards are. I can't tell you, Caitlin, that was shallow of you not to pay for that man's child in daycare. That's your standard. That's your line in the sand. You drew that line. He crossed it. He's out now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a line in the sand for a guy like me, and when I talk to guys, if I had a guy, book me for a consult, and he's like, hey, Rich, this is what I do for a living, blah, 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 and I'm dealing with this woman, but this bothers me, right? I would say, yeah, it bothers you for a reason. what does God like say here? Tattoos are forbidden and against the Bible. It's a big red flag, regardless of your excuse. Show your care. Another way, it doesn't matter what you say. So there's just one person in the live chat that's saying that, right?
I mean, that's fine. Everyone has it. Like, we're human. We have
Yeah.
opinions. I'm just saying, like, what I thought that she went through versus like paying for someone's daycare.
I get it, but you're her friend and you're a woman and you have your own, way of dealing with things and you're emotional about it and stuff like that. But I don't expect you to see it from the perspective of a man. I'm just telling you what the perspective is. It is a line in the sand that I would draw had I met a woman that had a mark or marks on her body representative of another man. That means that she's holding a place in her heart for that guy. And I can't take a woman that does that seriously. There's other guys out there that'll do it. There's lots of guys out there that'll do it, but not of my caliber.
Even if it's like 10 years later, you'll never take a woman seriously if she has like a momentum of any man.
It's permanent.
No, it's permanent.
Well, no,
why?
sure, but like time, like, okay. I'm just asking. I'm learning too.
I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here and pin down below in the top comment. You'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.